We're here today to explain the new Nouveau range of freestanding wardrobe systems. You can see that they come in 3 large boxes here that you will have purchased from the store, and we're going to show to you how to assemble it all today. In the small box we have everything that comes labelled. We have all the shelving, all the various shelves. We have the bottom and the top track and the rails, plus all the hardware which will be in the bag in that small box. The medium box contains the 2 doors that come fully assembled. We have the handles, the runner's bottom there, and the adjustment for the height adjustment is on the back of the doors. That's already fully assembled and ready to go. And in the large box we have all the large components, as you can see, ranging from the backing boards, the sides, the toe kick. But the most important thing as well to note on all the components and all of the boxes, that every component also has its own label, a removable label, but it will explain what each part is also. Now we're ready to assemble. There's just a few things to mention before we start. You will require a hammer, a screwdriver, and there's a set of instructions included in the packaging. Okay. These are the cam locks that come supplied. They're going to go into all these big holes that are all drilled at the end of each of the units. To use these, be aware that they have a small arrow at the head there. When we place that into these large holes, it has to be in line with a small hole that's drilled at the end as well. So you'll note under the cam lock there's a hole that goes through there, and that will line up with the hole that's at the bottom. When you're ready, you've got your arrow lined up with the hole, you place the cam lock into the hole and pop it in. We're going to start with the middle gable. First of all, we're going to put it up on its edge, just to make sure that you leave the raw edge at the top. You'll see why later on, but it's quite important to have that at the top. Next we have 2 shelf joiners. We're going to use these for our shelves on either side. It's also important to note with those that there is one long end, one shorter end, so make sure when you put them through, and they'll only go through that top hole, get the long end through at the top first, okay? So we'll put those 2 first. There we are. And I have my trusty assistant holding the back end of this shelf, nice and still. Then we get the next shelf. Again, we stand them up on their edge, and we have the raw edge to match the raw edge on this. Then they just slide in to the shelf joiners, just like that. Very easy. We're going to put on our second shelf now, just to note that the cams are all going to be facing inwards, so that they're all the same on the same edges. Also, when you need to put them all together, you need to also make sure that the raw edges are all showing on all of the units. Then we're going to line up our shelf joiners. Before we put them, cam and lock them, it's worth noting that the shelf on this side, which has the stopper, is the shelf that gets cam locked second. So we're going to put these all together now, like this, and I will screw them all together and cam lock them, and they will all be done. The next part of the assembly is the bottom shelf and the top shelf. They're both the same, they're both pre-drilled, and you're going to use these, which are called a can pin. That's what they look like there. So we just pop them into the holes, put one here, and we just screw them down, as you can see, just screw them down. They're very simple, all pre-drilled, and they go in, and then they go as far as they can with the lock at the bottom there. Both the same, the top and the bottom shelf. The next part of the assembly, we're going to join the top shelf to the middle gable. So we're going to line up our can pins with our cans on this side. Okay, trusty helper, and we line these up, making sure that everything is nice and neat and flush on all these edges, and then we just can lock those in, just like that. To complete this part of the assembly, we're going to put the bottom plate on now, which is just going to be lifted. We're going to join just like we did with the top plate. Cam lock this in. The other thing that you'll notice about the unit is that it's actually now proud of the ground. We're going to join our toe kick to our bottom shelf, and to do this we're going to have 3 brackets that are going to join onto this shelf along here. There are marks already pre-made onto all of the shelving. I'll show you later on that will go into the end of the shelf. But first of all, we will screw in our econo brackets and then we'll show you how they go onto the shelf. I've got 3 of these brackets to screw in. They're quite easy to put in. The spot pilots are already made on there, so you can just see where you've got to put the screws in for the econo brackets and then just screw them in. Now that our econo brackets are in place, we just tap them down, they lock into place. Very simple to put in. And we're going to put our dowel pieces in. There are dowel at both ends of this toe kick. So to do that, you just pop them into the hole here. Just get your trusty hammer and tap those in. And these are going to be for our side walls. So that will be both ends of the toe kick. Now we're going to put on our side panels. First of all, note that we've got all our cam pins that have been put in at the top here as well, and up the top there as well. Just make sure you've got those in first. Then we're going to put the side and we're going to line it up also with our dowel, which is down here. That's the easiest way, is to line up the dowel and the pins first at the bottom, just down here. Put them together, and then we'll line up our middle pins as well. Okay, now if there's any problem getting the sides in, all you need to do, using a book or a magazine, use a hammer and very gently just tap it in. Now that we've got our sides in place and everything is all flush all the way through, we're now going to go through and tighten all our cam locks up, and we will also do the same on the other side at the same time, just to make sure everything is all tight. We're now going to put on our backing board, and as you can see, this is the reason that we have left the raw side up, to make it easy for us to mark out and put on our backing board. So first of all, we're going to mark a centre line just through the middle here of our middle gable. We'll just use a little pencil mark, we can just line that up where we think. And we do the same up the top here. We can put a line up through here, through there. Now, if you want it to be completely accurate, you can get yourself a measuring tape. This is 16 mils across here, so you can put the line through, through your middle mark, 8 mils each side. And then we're going to lift our backing board on, and we're going to put that on top for you, and we'll show you how that gets applied. To line up our backing board, we've line up the edge here with the mark that we made on the back of the middle gable. We're also just going to use our fingers here to make sure it's all even across here. And then we'll come down to the bottom here. We also have to make sure it's all lined up there, across with our marker there. Now if it's not quite even, you can always just tap the bottom, and this will help square up the edges for you. So now we're going to actually put some nails in through the sides, through the back here. My trusty hammer. I'm going to put some nails in. There are plenty of nails provided in the packet. So what you'll find is that you may have extra nails left over. That's okay. So we're just going to tap these nails in and then all the way down. Now if you want to use another form of measure, you can always use your hand band. Just that will give you your markings for where to put your nails down the edges as well. So we'll tap these away, and then we'll have to do the other side. So now that we've finished putting our backing boards on, we're going to bring the whole unit up, and we're going to put the sliding doors on. And as you can see, we've got a few nails left over, so that's fine. It's always handy if you need them. We're going to lift the unit up and put it up on its feet. And in order to do this, a small little hint would be, if you lift part of the unit up, perhaps slide a book underneath. This enables you to get your fingers underneath and makes it easier. Okay, so I'm going to lift it now. Okay, now we're going to put in the bottom track, and in order to do that, you need to set the track in 20 mils from the front edge, and you can use that using your marker, which is your trusty little nail that you had from your backing board. You can use that, that's a 20 mil marker, and that could just sit on that leading edge there. Of course you can measure it with a measuring tape. There are 3 screws that will be used in the centre of the track, and we just used a screwdriver and screw those down in place. There you are. We're now on to doing our top track. what we're going to do first of all is actually just remove, there's a protective film that comes with it. So we'll just remove that. That was also on the bottom track. And then this also comes pre-drilled. There are holes already pre-drilled and pre-cut to fit snugly up into the top track. This will actually fit flush with the front of the unit, just up front there. And now we're going to put up our header track. As you can see, keep it flush to the front of the unit there. There are 6 screw holes all pre-drilled, and we're just going to put this last one in. As you can see, it's very handy to have a magnetic screwdriver, and we'll just pop that screwdriver right through there. Now we're going to put in our steel rails, our steel hanging rails. Now in order to do that, we can count down the holes on the side here for the front and the back on both sides, and that will give us a line down, across, and we can put our bracket approximately 250 millimetres in from the back here. Well, that's what we would suggest is a good hanging space for your clothes. So I'll just screw that one away and put that in here. Okay, and there's the steel rail. So we'll put this rail through here in our brackets that we've installed. Now we're going to install our adjustable shelf supports. Now for this, just as easy to count down the holes. Make sure you've got them all even on both sides, front, back, and on both sides, so that your shelf will be level. These are adjustable shelving, so these can be placed at any heights that you want in the freestanding unit. Now I'm going to put in the second adjustable shelf. So we put in our second support, our last support for the adjustable shelf. And also just note as well for the shelf also, just make sure you've got your nice smooth edge at the front of the shelf when you put them in. And it's about this time you could actually put your steel hanging rail, which can go in even under here, for the next lot of clothing down there. Now it's time to put the doors in. So we're going to put the first door in on the back rail. Now, so you put the top in, wheels aligned, and on the back track, drop that into place like that. Make sure also that the handles to the edge on each of those, and that's your first door in. And we'll show you how to adjust the doors in a moment. So now we put in the front door. Again, we line the top up, put into the top front track here. The wheels are there. And and there you are, up to that track there at front, and also handles at the side. So now we're going to do the adjustments, which is on the back of the door. Door out so that you can see that the adjusters are actually on the back face of the door, and this is where we make the adjustments up or down on the wheels to make sure that the door is sitting flush at the side, on the side walls. This is where we want it to fit nice and smoothly. So these are our adjusters. You just use your screwdriver, you can just adjust them up and down, and that will get your door nice and level. And there you have it. Your freestanding wardrobe is all complete. The doors glide beautifully, and if you're worried at all about the labels which are still on there, they just peel off. No problem at all. And there you have a wonderful wardrobe.